Okay, if you haven't seen this build thread, go check it out first. I have a Mazda RX-7 GTUS. It's one of 100. It's really rare. I was going to do an Aristo 2JZ swap to it, but then I got a lot of shit, so I decided I'd go ahead and restore it because it's worth it. So I started looking for the original or an original S5 13B motor to put back in it. And this is the story of getting scammed by Akil service who had one on Drift Northwest. Now this description is going to be very quick and brief, but I just want to explain each screenshot and why the videos are being posted in the order that they are. If you want to actually read the dialogue, pause it and read through it. I suggest you do, but this is for those who don't have enough patience. Too long didn't read group. Now this is Akil service. He's the guy who had the 13B rotary engine for sale on Drift Northwest and Marketplace. I met him and his girl down in Eugene at this shady fucking apartment complex just off the belt line in downtown. Now he previously had this Rx7 for sale, and I had passed on it because, well, as much as it looked good, the motor looked like it was just dropped in a Series 5 and a Series 4. When I learned it was Kyle Lander who owned it, I was like, alright, well, his car is cherry, and he's been off drifting with this turbo swap, so I was like, alright, I'm down. Now I know that the motor was good. So I saw his thread got modified as soon as I contacted him, as you can see here. But I saw this video,
2020,
and he said, this is a good running vehicle, as he just said there. Just no smoke, no nothing. He's going to fire it up, said the date on it. Now, Akil stated that this is kind of him, or at least implied. I didn't know him at the time, but then, when I realized that's obviously not him, I realized that, okay, so this was a dude that he sold the car to, but then ended up wanting to buy the motor and stuff back when this guy couldn't sell it. And this guy's an idiot. He's trying to show that the transmission's good. I guess that proves it doesn't grind gears or something. But I was a bit concerned about this dude, but the story about it coming from Kyle Landers made me kind of okay with the fact that, well, it's got 90,000 miles on it, so even if this dude just got it swapped in, and obviously it's idling high. It's got some serious fucking sensors, or, it's not set in there right, the idle's terrible, but, see, it's not smoking, so I'm like, alright, just got a high idle, I'll be putting all the sensors back to new, so I'm like, alright, what do you say, dude, I'll trade you this here body kit. I was going to use my right-hand drive, but I'll trade you my BN Sports body kit plus, like $300 for your motor you wanted $1,500 for. It's a fair deal. Let me know if you want it. He's like, all right. Tell you what, why don't you load up a cherry picker, some tools, come down, help me pull it out, and then you can have it. So I get down there, and it's in the car, and I help him pull it out. It looks like the same motor as Kyle Landers, and so I'm like, all right, cool. I deal with the car and pulling it and take it home and set it down here and befriend him and befriend Kyle, and so I'm believing the story that this is a legit running motor and everything's going good. So much so that I actually loaded up a bunch of stuff and brought it down there when I bought his front bumper because this game had no scratches. I gave Akil a free sport spoiler and them a bunch of drift spares. Like, I thought we were going good until I got it on the engine stand to put on the new wiring harness, racing beat header, clean it up a bunch, make it look good for going in my freshly painted engine bay of the GTUS, and this is what I found. Alright, I just got the engine on the stand, started taking it down, and got the engine manifold off, and I wanted to show you this. Take a look at this. Let me turn on the flash here. Take a look at that. What do you see? Yeah, that's a problem, dude. This is a blown motor. And I think you knew that it had a blown coolant seal, and that's why all the new coolant. I think you knew that the front housing or the center intermediate plate had a crack in it. So this is a blown motor, and you sold it to me for the price of a running motor. What are we gonna do? As you can see, he immediately got hostile. He started attacking me about he'd never scam, he'd never do anything. He had no idea. He promised to give me the money back. He promised to reimburse for at least the blown core motor. Then he's just take the kit, take the motor, take the money, take it all. I don't even care. Go fuck yourself. A bunch of time passed, the date in which he said he would pay me back, came and went. I never got an address. He said he never touched the motor, but look.
Well, he decided to throw a fit, so I'm going to do a follow-up video here to show that clearly he has done a thermostat, a new water pump, and again, brand new coolant. He tried desperately to get it running. He got it to fire up. They didn't show the smoke coming out of the tailpipe because it was blown. And then he put it up on fucking Drift Tax Northwest and Drift Northwest and Facebook Marketplace and shit as a running motor and sold it to me. A typical Rotary Power Northwest Marc Heynderickx style pineapple racing bullshit move. Why I left the Rotary scene.
So that's when I posted up on Drift Northwest being like, alright, so seriously, there seems to be a problem here. Obviously, this is not a running motor. This is a motor that was overheated, put in your car, and blown up. And so their response was, no way, it's condensation. That was actually what he said here. Then they started getting smarmy and attacking me when I tried to point out that I've got 20 years experience building rotary engines, but his shitbox here, obviously, he knows better. And so then he brought in his friend, who then shot them all in the foot by stating, this guy right here drifted the ever-living shit out of it. They drove it after the motor video. So that video wasn't it being pulled and then put in the brown one. And then they start projecting about doing drugs because look at his avatar. Obviously, he's a junkie. And that's when Akil came on to Drift Northwest, where I posted this going, what's going on, dude? And started blasting me. And it was never sold, it's never sold you a blown motor, except obviously, look, the proof. And so then he starts gaslighting with his friends, and they all just treat it like, it's not blown. I just don't know what's going on. So much so, I can't post anymore. So I make this video. Because it's just condensation. No, that's not just condensation. And so now it's not just an opinion. I've got multiple mechanics and everybody outside of Drift Northwest going, wow, that's fucked up. That's obviously the rotary equivalent of a blown head gasket. And look, it's only in one rotor. The other rotor is perfectly fine. So, obviously, here we have a blown or cracked front iron is what I said, and I was sticking to with my 20 years rotary experience, but they weren't having it. And so when I posted up that video, the moderators, everybody just started jumping on me. This guy made a post about, see, it's a perfect motor. There's nothing wrong with it. People started calling for me and my wife being banned and get them all out of here because we're making up shit. And look, Evan Brown, the guy who Akil said he was drifting with in BMWs, comes on and says, I bought stuff from him. I like that guy. And look, there's Marc Heynderickx. And look, now Akil is just off to building his new turbo motor with the money I gave him. And his friends are talking shit on how he stole the body kit from me. And then all of a sudden, Mark and Rotary Power Northwest, who gave him the idea to do so, are laughing about it. Even though Kurt Robertson, Pineapple Racing, all of them right here are being called out on doing the same thing.
So I've been having a hard time kind of deciding.
Here's Akil, confessing.
What kind of video to do first for the channel.
He never even got this motor running.
I've been getting caught up in fixing the cars and finishing them off. So I'm just going to kind of just do a rundown of each one, kind of where they're at, and a little bit of backstory behind them. Just kind of have fun with it, But anyways, so this video is welcome, first of all, to 6 settings, first video for 6 settings. I'm going to talk about my 1986 Mazda Rx7 that I got a hold of very recently. So the story on this car goes a little bit like, I had this Subaru, this 99 Subaru Legacy GT that I got. Traded my Beamer for it because I needed a car that ran. And came across, I had it for a few months, came across this Rx7 on Marketplace, was kind of stoked about it, thought no big deal. Messaged the guy, just kind of joking around, see if he would say anything to it. He said yes. Background on the story, on the car, it shut off a couple days before that. It kind of just had its issues, was kind of doing what it needed to do. And I traded the guy, brought it back up here. My buddy Kyle was pissed. He did not like the idea that I traded for this car because he couldn't get it to crank. Got it back home, had a bad start like I thought, got it to crank over. I have a video of it, I'll cut in here. Got it running, it was running really bad. Losing compression, I'm pretty sure. kind of bummed off that. Talked to my buddy Trey. He actually had my old swap still, and the FC that I traded him for the Supra. And got the swap back. Ripped the engine out of this one, put the new engine and trans in it, so it's an S5 swap again, doing the body harness all over, hence why everything all over the place. And basically just finishing up. I've had the car for about a week and a half now. The whole entire swap has been put in. Thanks to Michael for that, and for helping me with that at his house. And got the swap all in, wiring all through. Hopefully a couple more days, got a little bit more of the wiring patching to put together, and then hopefully it should be good from there. And then we'll start having some nicer videos on this thing, something more put together. But yeah, so that's kind of the story of this RX-7. It's gonna end up being the drift car for sure. I'm not gonna end up banging up the Supra, but I think this is gonna be really fun. I got my shot at having an RX-7 again, considering the other one went so wonky. That's a different story for a different time. But yeah, I'm really excited about this car. Clean title, 140,000 miles on the chassis. I'm hoping it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. So I'm probably gonna have a couple more shots of the car around and call it good. As far as the swap goes at this very moment, got the radiator in now. Swap's obviously all in. I actually managed to keep my AC whole. So I'm gonna see if I can get that to work, because if I can get my AC to work still, that'd be super awesome. Getting this wired back in, gotta fix a couple of the spots that got cut due to like removal of the harness before. And this is technically the third time I guess it's been put in the car, 2 of them by me. So S5 swap usually involves whole new cluster, wire harness all the way through, all the way back to the tail lights. So right now there's no wiring leading back anywhere right now. All the way back over through the HVAC, all the way over to the ECU, body harness, more plugs there. None of the harnesses are the same between the S4 and S5, so that's why this is very necessary. So basically you have to strip the whole car down wiring wise and rerun it through. Due to the fact that I used to do rat infestation cars, this is actually really easy for me. So I'm only maybe 5-6 hours tops into this, and that's mostly working in the dark after work and stuff like that. So I gotta like put this back in, repatch all of that back together, and then kind of just finish putting it back in, put the dash back together. I gotta put my exhaust on, drive lines in now, just get it cranking over and kind of see what's happening. Depending on how long it takes me to edit this whole video will kind of show what's going on. This video is going to kind of be weird because I'm going to try and get my vibe for all this. But yeah, it's going to be super fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this so far, and I'm super stoked to see it going soon. So yeah, my 86 $200 RX-7. I got it for $200 on top of the trade for the Subaru that I spent no money on. So yeah, this is literally like a $200 car. So I'm really excited.
The motor I got from him had never ran. He had never got it to fire up, and he tried like hell in that car. This teardown, the reason why I'm walking away so many times is because there was so much fucking starter fluid in this engine, I could barely breathe. I thought I was going to have to wear a respirator at times. It was so bad. He had tried desperately to get it started. He took the oil back out of it and drained it completely because it was almost gas and starter fluid. So when I found this here in a second, after, well, taking down the motor to this point, I realized what I had called out was correct. And as you can see here, there is a blown coolant seal. A cracked front iron. Exactly as I said there would be.
That's a blown motor. You fucking asshole. You sold me a blown motor. See you in court. Or this is for court. Either one. See? Blown motor.
So now I'm going to put this 2JZ back in it and not restore it back to original after wasting thousands of dollars of parts on like racing beat headers and anodized fuel rails and OEM throttle cables and gaskets and just everything, all the new sensors. I literally bought everything from underneath the hood, brand new, from the last of like Jim Ellis Mazda, all of the last of the remaining parts that I could find for nothing, because, well, they don't make new front irons for this motor anymore, and the risk of just finding another gonna blow out in 10,000 miles because of how many heat cycles they've all had iron is just not even worth the time. I want to actually drive this car for a solid 10 years without having to rebuild it, fuck with the engine bay all the time. So 2JZ, here we go. It's an Aristo, twin turbo. So I'm gonna add some good stuff to it. It's gonna get the Apexi, exhaust. Everything's gonna be beefed up a little bit, and it's gonna be a bit fun. Now check out that build thread if you haven't seen it, and go fucking tell Akil Service to pay me my fucking money.